Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, again, guys, sorry I haven't been posting a lot of videos. Been a lot going on recently in my life. So just trying to bust out what I can when I can. This weekend, not sure off the top of my head, not sure what's going on. I don't think a lot going on July 31st, but I will be doing my third podcast in a few weeks here. And, maybe a couple weeks right before the Pacquiao and Errol Spence fight. And I'll let you know what's going on with everything when I do that. But all that being said, let's jump into the top 10, the mid-year top 10 for the 175-pound light heavyweight division. Going to break down at the midway point what I think, my top 10 and how they're all looking. So we start with number 10, former world title challenger Anthony Yarde. Yarde, I think he fought once this year, got a knockout win, bounced back from that, lost to Lyndon Arthur last year. Anthony Yarde just trying to reestablish himself, make a name for himself again following that loss. Remember he battled Sergey Kovalev very tough a couple years ago for the world title, and he got upset by Lyndon Arthur last year, but I think he's trying to shake that off, get back in the mix. I think he's trying to get Lyndon Arthur in a rematch, but we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of Lyndon Arthur, he's number 9 right now. He moves up one spot from number 10. He hasn't done much this year. I'm not sure if he returned and got a win or not. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but he is continuing to roll forward. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. I like he got the win last year. There are talks about him possibly taking on Anthony Yarde in a rematch, so we'll see. Number 8 is former world title challenger Maxim Vlasov. Well, Vlasov, he's been talked about to possibly fight in an eliminator to move in line for the WBO title again. He lost to Joe Smith Jr. back in April in a tough bout. I think it was a split decision or a majority decision. Joe Smith walked away with the win, but it was a very close fight, as I thought it would be. And he came up just short, but they're trying to get him back in the mix. He should return in the second half of the year. If Joe Smith goes forward with a unification bout with Artur Beterbiev, then I really think Joe Smith could, Vlasov could face Salomonov, who he was supposed to fight last year for the title, and it didn't work out. So I really believe, they were supposed to fight in a final eliminator last year, and it didn't happen, but I really believe that Vlasov could get him in that proposed fight, and it could be a WBO final eliminator if they do fight. So we'll see. Okay, next at number 7 is Badou Jack. I'm sorry, guys. I'm changing it around because I'm trying to figure it out, but we had Anthony Yarde, Lyndon Arthur. Number 8 is supposed to be Badou Jack, actually, the former 2-division world champion. As of right now, it's not 100% clear what Jack's going to do next. He fought on the Gervonta Davis undercard, got a win. He was supposed to fight John Pascal for the vacant WBA regular title, but Pascal tested positive for banned substances, so the fight didn't go forward. It was late notice, so Jack wasn't able to fight for the vacant title because the WBA hadn't ruled on stripping Pascal yet. And now Jack, looking forward, we don't know, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on Gervonta Davis's next undercard. I think he could possibly fight, for the regular title, or move up to cruiserweight and compete there. So we just got to wait and see what happens with him. Number 7 is former interim champion Marcus Brown. Brown came back, got a win earlier this year. Right now, there's no news on what Brown could be doing next and against who. It's just kind of up in the air. He's a PBC guy. I'd really like to see Brown and Badou Jack share the ring again, but does Badou Jack want that rematch? So we'll see. Vlasov, who I already talked about, was number 6, so he's number 6 at light heavyweight right now. Number 5 is the undefeated Gilberto Ramirez. He moves up 4 spots from number 9. Ramirez came back earlier this year, and actually he just fought Sullivan Barrera early in July and got a 4th round TKO victory in that one. So Gilberto Ramirez is rolling at light heavyweight now. He's looking forward to a world title fight. He wants Dimitri Bivol next for the WBA championship, but Dimitri Bivol is in the Canelo sweepstakes right now. There's talks that he could be the front runner to land Canelo in the fall. So if that's the case, Bivol's going to fight Canelo. He is not going to fight Gilberto Ramirez, but I do still think there's a chance that it could be Gilberto Ramirez and Dimitri Bivol for the title. So I'll try to, hopefully we get some kind of direction on that soon. But Gilberto Ramirez moving up the ladders nonetheless. Number 4 is former WBO champion Eliter Alvarez. Haven't heard anything out of him. He said he wants to continue his career following the knockout loss to Joe Smith Jr. last year, but haven't heard about when he's coming back or against who. Right now, up in the air. Number 3 is the WBO champion, the newly crowned WBO champion, Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith came in, got a huge win, majority or split decision victory over Maxim Vlasov in April. Hard fought. He had to work very, very hard for that one, but he got the win, captured his first world title. There were talks initially about him fighting Artur Beterbiev in a unification bout, which would be for 3 of the 4 belts. Now that fight still, according to Artur Beterbiev, could be made very soon. But we also know Beterbiev is a possible opponent for Canelo. That's been rumored. And then Joe Smith, as just a couple weeks ago, I read that Joe Smith could be making a mandatory defense against Usa Salomonov in his next fight, and then after that fighting Daniel Jacobs, the former middleweight champion. So right now, it's kind of up in the air what's going to go on with the title, or with Joe Smith next, but I think either way it should be a pretty sizable fight, and I'm hoping it's the unification with Artur Beterbiev, because that would be huge. Okay, number 2 is the undefeated unified champion Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev fought his mandatory earlier this year. I think it was Adam Dines, got a 10th round TKO victory in that one, pounded it out, retained his unified title. Now, there have been talks about him and Joe Smith Jr. He says that fight is close to being done. Haven't heard anything on the Joe Smith Jr. side outside of what I just said, that Joe Smith looks like he was talking about a possible 2-fight contract with Salomonov and then Daniel Jacobs, but nothing is guaranteed. Honestly, I don't think we're going to hear anything until Canelo announces his next opponent, because I know Artur Beterbiev was in the sweepstakes for Canelo as well. So, got to wait to see. I don't think Beterbiev is going to get Canelo in the ring, but he could. So, we'll see what happens. And still number 1 for me is the undefeated WBA super champion, Dimitri Bivol. Bivol, haven't heard anything concrete. He came back, defeated Craig Richards earlier this year. I think it was in May. Retained his title. He'd been out of the ring for like a year and a half. But for me, he's still number 1 in the division. But he has moved possibly up to the front of the line for a possible Canelo fight, because the Caleb Plant fight fell through for Canelo, and now Canelo's looking for an opponent in the fall. Dimitri Bivol was a backup opponent, and right now I think Canelo's camp is talking to Bivol's camp about a possible showdown between the two. Now, they're saying most likely it's going to take place at 175, but Dimitri Bivol said he could make 168 before. So maybe he tries to come down and fight for Canelo's belts at 168 pounds. But we'll see what happens. But I definitely think that he's in the mix. If he doesn't get Canelo, I think it's very likely that he takes on Gilberto Ramirez, which would be a big fight as well. And then we'll see how everything plays out. But very, very big news and possible matchups for the light heavyweight division in the second half of the year. So make sure you're paying attention. That's the mid-year top 10 for the 175-pound light heavyweight division. Hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.